If you like betting on golf, but everyone that you back misses the cut, get some experts involved with all the stats and the tips and so much more. Cause it's the golf betting system, the golf betting system, it's the golf betting system podcast.
Greetings and welcome to the Golf Betting System podcast. It's episode 376. This is our 2025 Abu Dhabi HSBC Championship and Worldwide Technology Championship Tips podcast. Barry O'Hanrahan and Paul Williams join me, Steve Bamford, to discuss this week's DP and PGA Tour action. Good morning, gents.
Good morning, guys.
Morning, guys.
This podcast is for listeners of 18 and above. Please be gamble aware. You can visit gambleaware.org for more information. And of course, please bet responsibly. Visit our world-famous golf betting system website where we have our in-depth betting previews for both the Abu Dhabi and WWT Championships. Paul has been in the stats lab pulling together this week's data. We have Yas Links strokes gained rankings. We've got detailed Yas Links and El Cardinal course form, player form and combi sheets, plus new and old predictor models for both the DP World and PGA Tour action this week. All of our content is available completely free of charge at Golf Betting System. There is no paywall. All registration required. On X, we have been quiet recently, but Barry is at A Good Talk Golf. Paul is at Golf Betting. I am at Bamford Golf. We're also on Blue Sky. Search for Steve Bamford and Paul Williams. Can I ask you to subscribe to the Steve Bamford Golf YouTube channel where this podcast is available each and every week? Of course, leave comments for the algorithm and press that like button. Now, you guys as listeners power this podcast, so we need your 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts as ever. For those of you who leave a review, I'll read them out at the start of a future show. Leave your name and where you are in the review. Now, we've got a few here, so I wanted to just make sure that we run through them. I mean, we're in the last 30 metres, aren't we, guys, of the 2025 year? I think we've got 3 podcasts left, including this one. So I just wanted to make sure that all of the comments that we get in from the listeners are read out before we disappear for our winter sojourn. So I've got a couple of very short ones here this week. This one is from Mark JD UK. He's clearly in the UK. It's entitled "Steve Told Me To," 5 stars. And the review goes, "It is pretty good!" exclamation mark. That's very short, very sweet. I like it.
I like that too.
You got to like that, haven't you?
The trolling is good right now.
Now, this one is far too long for my liking. It's from Kingjake 31. He's in the UK, so thank you, Mark. Thank you, Kingjake. This one is entitled "Great Podcast," 5 stars. Review: great podcast and definitely worth a listen for any golf predictions. I think that one's far too long. But thank you for your time, gentlemen. You've done exactly what we asked you to do. Thanks.
Brilliant. Thank you, chaps. Much appreciated.
We have a couple next week, chaps, from further afield. So I'll leave you with that one. And we've still got this huge review. I was thinking about reading it out on the RSM Classic show, which is our last one, where we've only got one round of tips.
Yep.
That is well worth reading.
Makes
Feels
sense.
like we haven't been on the podcast forever. I was poorly on the last one. I feel far fitter this morning. So a lot more chin wag from me. I'm trying to think what we've missed. I've been on holiday, so we missed a Michael Brennan victory on the PGA Tour. Madness. And who won your event in on the DP World Tour, Paul, in South Korea?
South Korea. That was young Wan Lee, wasn't it? 350 to 1 shot. So wow. You'd have done extremely well to have got close to him over there. Yeah, I had Daniel Hillier that week. He led to halfway and then absolutely imploded on the Saturday with a 78. Minkyu Kim was the first round leader. I backed as well, triple digits, and he fell away. So that was a bit of a disappointing one, a bit of a frustrating one.
That seems to be a bit of a theme with Daniel Hillier, doesn't it? I've just noticed that it pop a couple of times this year, gets to that good position, and then Oops. It's like playing snakes and ladders.
Yeah, if he did it continually, you'd be a bit wary, but he is capable of getting over the line, as he's proven. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess the players are all entitled to one bad day, one bad round. You just hope that when they're in serious contention, it doesn't happen, but it certainly did happen to Hillier on the Saturday. And then he shot a reasonable round on the Sunday, so it only needed to be a middling kind of round on the Saturday, and he'd have been in with a great chance.
Maybe just found a few bottles of really nice New Zealand Pinot Noir on the Friday night and just kind of let rip. It's all a bit too much for the Saturday.
Yeah, release the stress. But yeah. So, but if anyone managed to pluck out Young Wan Lee, then very well done indeed. Going back to Michael Brennan, I thought he was incredibly composed and, for an inexperienced player at that PGA Tour level, that was really, really impressive.
He'd only played one Corn Ferry Tour event in 2025. He missed the cut.
Missed the cut, hadn't he?
He was playing all of his golf on this Americas tour.
Yeah, there were some clues, weren't there? So on the form stat sheet, which lists the raw finishes from all of the tours that get OWGR points, he was right at the top there because he had won quite recently. In fact, he'd won 3 times on the Americas tour, hadn't he?
That's right. This was his form in from the 10th of August. 1st, 51st, 1st, 5th, 4th. That was at the Fortinet Cup Championship, their end of tour event. So he was clearly in white. It actually follows on from Matt McCarthy last year at that Black Desert Resort.
Yep.
McCarthy had been playing absolutely brilliantly on the Corn Ferry, and this guy had been playing fantastically. The level below that. Now, I've got him recorded at 125 to 1 for that win.
Well, yes, he was. There was a lot of disparity, actually. And again, that's not a bad thing to look at, is it? Because there were some very different opinions from the bookies. I saw 66s out there, and then, as you say, all the way up to 125. So differing odds compilers were choosing or forming different opinions on him. And they were right to do so. The guys that had got him chalked up as a shorter price had taken no chances. And
you're right.
Stepped up.
He was 66 to 1 on Bet365's opening 5 places each way, quarter the odds standard market.
Yep.
Up to 125 to 1, and that price was with BetMGM. There's another reason to get a BetMGM account going. He was generally 100 to 1. There was an 80. This is a first Monday show price. He was 80 to 1 with SpreadX. So some disparity there. And just to place you where Brennan was, he was around players of the ilk of Joseph Bramlett, Patrick Rogers, Nick Hardy, Rio Hitsatsuni and Chad Ramey. But that's 2 years on the trot now. An absolute young stud with form at lower level was just come and taken that out. So you know what will happen next year? I was thinking about this. You'll follow the same path next year. And Lucas Glover will win.
Oh no! Surely he'd be Champions Tour by that stage. That course is cool. The views are amazing. It seems to allow a bit of variety of kind of skill sets to attack it. Although he did his with just
pure power,
absurd distance, mixed with incredible accuracy as well.
Yeah,
it was
straight,
just he was positive in all strokes gained that week. Really exciting to see that. It's quite a theme though. Like the young lads coming up, like a lot of them just hit the ball absolute miles.
Yep.
And I think in the next couple of years the PGA Tour is going to have a real headache, and golf maybe will have a real headache on how to handle this course setup, or will they have to reconsider what they've done with the golf ball? It's madness. Like they're breaking the back of these golf courses so easily.
Yeah, and some of it's down to the style of the course as well. And you can't have a Delhi Golf Club every week because it would get monotonous. But you can have courses that negate that element of the game to a large degree. It just needs to be a balance constantly, doesn't there? And if we're going to the same style of course on the PGA Tour, pretty much every week, then these young guys coming through who, hit it a mile, as you say, putt well, they're going to mop up so many tournaments. There just needs to be a range of different styles of courses.
That I agree. You can't end up with that just like homogenous golf course design that serves for the vast majority of PGA Tour events.
Brennan is incredibly now up to 42nd in the world.
Yeah, I saw that. Doesn't take long, does it?
No.
I'm interested to see what he does for me, because these guys that break through don't always maintain that and and push on. So there were comparisons to all sorts of players immediately after his win, but I'd be interested to see how he fares. Well, not just at the end of this season, because you'd imagine he'll down tools a little bit, but certainly for next year.
Why do you think that is? Do you think it's because all the mental energy is gone to bashing down the door, and then you finally get there, and you're like, "Oh God, what do I do now?" It takes your time for your brain to work itself out. Or any thoughts?
Yeah, you've also got to adjust to the financial impact, surely, for a player like that who's suddenly been thrust into winning, 7 figures of prize money. It's got to be a huge life moment to mentally compute that and then move forward. He might not. He might go and win this week, and then we'll have a completely different narrative to try and unpick. We'll see.
He would have been playing the Century, but of course that isn't happening next year.
No.
We've got another week in the shadows at the other side of Christmas. Fantastic result, I thought. Fantastic. Can't wait. But yes, I tell you what, I did think that's a lot of your stars around the edges here of this qualification, top 100, top 125 for the PGA Tour. Someone like Michael Brennan just turning up and literally winning a tournament. So that's a kick in the privates for quite a lot of these guys that are literally holding on with their fingertips to PGA Tour status. But you just got to play better, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Simple as that. Let's run through a couple here. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to quickly run through. I mean, this is the time of year. We always say this. I'll just run you through this week's official World Golf Rankings and players that are playing this week. There might be something that rings a bell with you as a listener that, I might back this guy. So Nick Taylor, 41, Brennan, 42. These are all guys that are playing. Højgaard Rasmus variety, 43. Is Patrick Reed playing this week?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Reed's playing. He's 44. I mean, he's desperately trying to get that top 50 position for, what would that, I mean, that's just open. I don't really know, to be fair. What's that actually going to get him? Because he's clearly going to play the Masters, so. Dietrich's interesting for me. He's at 49. Then we've got Johnny Kiefer, who we've mentioned many times. He's actually playing on the PGA Tour this week in the WWT. He's at 53. And then we're down to the likes of Christopher Rattan. And the last one I'll mention is Nico Echeverria at 61. I was going to take us through the Abu Dhabi Championship first. It's by far the stronger event this week. Let's take you through the top 10 of guys that are going to be playing PGA Tour next year. We know that Penge is in. We know that Rattan is in. Sadier's in. John Parry's as good as in, as is Alex Naren. Then 6, Cantor, who did very well in South Korea and was on the bubble, I believe, at 10. He's now up to 6 and pretty much assured. And then we've got a pack that are work in progress. Hao Tong Lee, Daniel Brown, Kita Nakajima, and number 10 clinging on, Jordan Smith. Followed by, these are outside the bubble, Martin Kuvra, Joachim Lagergren, Elvis Smiley, Rasmus Niergaard Pettersson, Daniel Hillier, who you've mentioned, Tristan Lawrence, Jaden Shaper, and Angel Arroyo. All fighting for a top 10 in that category to get on the PGA Tour for 2026.
Yeah, and a lot of points to play for
Huge.
with these events. So yeah, there's gonna be a bit of jostling, and to Barry's point, it will be really high profile on the commentary. So good to see. Adds a bit of spice to the end of the season.
Well, I did say that off mic. Got to give the listeners a chance. No, I think it's yeah. I think the top 10 is fascinating. One of the more interesting things going on right now versus just the overall leaderboard or the overall rankings. I think they need to steer into it a little bit more. Separate leaderboard, show who's just outside the top 10, because you have to figure out yourself who has a PGA Tour card and isn't really part of that race, like AKA like Matt Fitzpatrick in 15th in the rankings, Justin Rose, and show us how many points are available this week in a kind of separate tables. It's hard to kind of decipher. Again, like those points are kind of beside their names in the right-hand column are a bit meaningless, but nevertheless, there's been a lot of churn in those top 10, and that's made it a very interesting kind of theme going through all the tournaments recently.
Yep, certainly adds something to the end of the season, particularly in years where the title's pretty much done and dusted, which it certainly isn't this year, because you've got Marco Penge attempting to chase down Rory McIlroy at the top, which would be interesting.
One last thing before I get you to start your Abu Dhabi. I thought it's worth mentioning Tom McKibben last week. Grabbed himself a Masters spot, I believe.
Holy cow, that was some performance.
Yeah.
Well, did he shoot under par?
27, I think, wasn't it?
27, like course records, tournament records, gap record to second, or like.
Wow.
We've you guys have talked about him quite a lot. You've seen what's there, and that crystallized pretty heavily last week.
Yep. Capable boy.
Future Ryder Cupper?
It's early to say, but that's a good start, right?
Yeah. Yeah, not bad.
Well, it's not as if live players can't actually qualify on the Ryder Cup.
No, and never say
In
the
Europe,
rules
anyway.
can change. Yeah, the rules can change. It certainly seems to be more relaxed in the manner in which live players can certainly qualify for like the likes of these events that we're playing this week and next. So, we'll see how that manifests over the next 2 years. I expect there'll be a little bit of easing in some ways.
I mean, that gets him into a bit of the high point scoring tournament club. Like he's in 2 of the majors now, so not saying that does it for him, but a couple of one good performance, like one top 10 or 2 top 20s, kind of gets you more points and kind of keeps you more closely connected to getting into those tournaments. So
Yes.
it's what a serious prize for winning a tournament, like a Masters entry and an Open Championship entry.
Yeah, particularly for a player like McKibben, who may otherwise have certain doors closed to him. But ultimately he's got to be playing these big events to stand a chance of accumulating the points to give him a stab at making any of these, the Ryder Cup or future majors or whatever. So yeah, big for him, really was.
Interesting that an Asian Tour event was given a special Masters spot for the winner. So that deal was cracked behind the scenes.
Yeah, there's been a few that's...
There's another one, isn't there, from what I read?
Some of these...
There's 6 national opens, Steve, altogether, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Right, interesting.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? It gives some extra gravitas to those Open Championships dotted around the world. And if it attracts more quality players and you get quality winners, then great.
It's a really good thing.
I'm all for that.
I agree.
So well done to Tom. Right. Paul, this always used to be an event that was at the start of the year, wasn't it? They always used to have the Dubai Desert Classic, and then you'd get Abu Dhabi, or they'd go the other way, Abu Dhabi, then the Dubai Desert Classic. And now it's, of course, forming the playoff end of tour section on the DP World Tour. So it's moved to the other end of the calendar in November. A shorter field, a selective field. Walk us through it for us.
Yeah, you're right. It's now, as it was last year, the first leg of this two-legged DP World Tour playoffs. And of course, we've got the season's finale next week at the Earth Course, as it has been for a number of years. So certainly an interesting and an exciting couple of weeks. I do enjoy these two tournaments, I must say. To your point, 72 players here this week. So we've got the top 70 that are available in the race to Dubai, and any of the Ryder Cup team members who fancy playing are also eligible, regardless of their position on the race to Dubai. Sepp Straka is the notable exception. He's gone home to support the family with their little boy, so that's understandable. The rest of the team who wanted to play are here, so we have 72 players in total. No cut, of course. 13 of the world's top 50 are here, so it is a quality field. Rory McIlroy is the marginal favourite, around 6-1. In fact, he's been backed quite heavily this morning on Tuesday morning. So interesting to see some money coming in for Rory. He'd almost been joint favourites with Tommy Fleetwood, but Tommy's generally a point or two longer in places now. Till Hatton 8-1. Ludwig Oberg is 12-1 in places. Matt Fitzpatrick, Bob McIntyre 14-1. 22-1 bar those players. But yeah, top quality field. Loads of the Team Europe in attendance. And despite the short field, we have got some decent enough each way terms. Coral and Ladbrokes both have gone 7 places at a fifth of the odds. Bet365 and also Betfred again this week have gone 8 places each way, fifth of the odds as one of their options. And interestingly, and I know you noted this, Steve, on your last podcast, William Hill have launched a 10 place market, which is well worth a look. That's from both this event in Abu Dhabi and also the WWT Championship, and some decent prices as well. It's not as if they've taken a severe knife to the odds. There are some attractive enough options out there. In fact, I got one a mile away this week with them.
My top 2 selections are William Hill, 10 places each one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
there are certainly worth a look. So yeah, do take a shop around this week, because there are some options there. In terms of the venue, we're at Yas Links. 4th year in succession we're playing at Yas Links. So that's worth noting if you're looking at the history, the event history, or the combi sheets on the site this week. Prior to 2022, we were playing at the Abu Dhabi Golf Club for a number of years. So we have got a switch in venue. Whether that matters massively, well, we'll talk about that when we get to the event form stats. The course here, 7,425 yard par 72. It's Kyle Phillips design. So think Kingsbarns, Bernardus Golf, where they play the KLM Open, or have done the Dura in Sicily. A number of Kyle Phillips designs. Generally tends to design coastal or linksy style courses, and this one is a links style course set in the desert, of course. Exposed fairways, fescue, pot bunkers. So aesthetically, there's enough to give it a linksy feel. Certainly not for the purists, but in terms of the style of play, of course, that's going to be a factor this week. Paspalum grass has been used from tee to green. In fact, it's the Paspalum week, isn't it, with the WWT as well?
Oh, it is.
4 par 5s, 3 sub 400 yard par 4s. So it is very much a scoreable course when we're presented with good conditions. And it looks like we're likely to get the scoreable good conditions this week. Dry, sunny, light winds, 10 miles an hour is pretty much all I was seeing in the forecast. So it should be scoreable. Temperatures up to around 30 Celsius, so that's 86 Fahrenheit, give or take, in the afternoon. So it's going to be nice, pleasant, scoreable, a good week for golf, I'd suggest. We've had 3 events here, as I said. Thomas Pieters won in 2022. That was a windy renewal. It was 10 under par for the winning total that week. Thomas Pieters was a 40-1 shot back in 22. We were on Victor Perez the year after, 2023. He won at 18 under at 55-1. And then last year we had Paul Waring at 24 under. He was a 125-1 shot. So it hasn't particularly lent itself, since we've moved to Yas Links, to the shorter or shortest price players. So quite an attractive one from a punting perspective, I think. As I said, wide fairways, large greens. So in anything other than the conditions, or the windy conditions of 2022, when you look at the statistics, it's generally about hitting as many greens as possible, getting as close to the pins as possible, making some putts too. You certainly, if the winning total is going to be 24 under or thereabouts, which I wouldn't be surprised, I'd guess it's going to be 20 under or deeper this week, then you're going to need to be able to make some putts. In terms of the strokes gained data, which we do have again for the last 3 seasons, the 3 winners ranked 1st, 11th and 3rd for strokes gained tee to green. Perez was 5th for strokes gained putting. Even Paul Waring last year was 7th for strokes gained putting. So I'm expecting those kind of conditions, something comparable to last year, maybe something between the two years, 23, 24. So go out there, strokes gained tee to green, hit some putts, away you go.
It's really easy, isn't it?
Yeah. We break it down like that, we could all be pros, Barry, couldn't we? In terms of incoming form, if you go, I went all the way back to the start of the Abu Dhabi Championship events. Every winner's had a top 12 in one of their previous 4 starts. So some incoming form's good, nice consistent stats. Paul Waring, for reference, he'd finished 7th in Spain on his previous start. Perez had finished 12th in his previous start, which was before Christmas. Thomas Pieters had finished 15th on his previous start. That was the DP World Tour Championship. And then prior to that, he'd won the Portugal Masters. So all 3 of our winners here at Yas Links had coming off directly off the back of a top 15 finish. And within that, some better form as well. So form sheet probably worth looking at this week. The event form is a bit patchier. But, and of course we've had the change of venue, but even the winners here had shown some form in the past on the previous Abu Dhabi venue. So Paul Waring had finished 6th in the past at Abu Dhabi Golf Club. Perez had finished 2nd. Thomas Pieters had 3 top 5s in Abu Dhabi. So even though we've changed venue, pretty well worth a look at the event form sheets as well. So don't disregard it, given that we've changed venue, would be my advice there. Boiling it down, then I've backed 4 this week. I've got a couple that are relatively short and a couple that are a bit longer. So I'll go through my relatively short prices, then I'll bring you boys in and see where you're pitching your teams this week. We have got plenty of quality players. Short prices at the top of the market, though, haven't we? So, and one thing I'll say is this event has been a bit of a graveyard for single-digit odds chances over the years. So even last year we had McIlroy, Hatton, Fleetwood, all of them single digits. None of them won. Same again this week. It's you got the same trio all ranking between kind of 6-1 and 8-1. Can any of them win? Of course, if one of them chooses to give it 4 beans this week ahead of next week, then they could win. One of them comes in and they've found their A game, then great. I wonder how much the focus will be on next week, particularly for the likes of Rory. That's the event that he absolutely want to win. He's had a number of chances in Abu Dhabi over the years without winning. Not to say he can't, but it's just enough to put me off at 5-6 to 1, and shortening all the time. I've gone a little bit deeper in the betting. I've stuck with the Ryder Cup theme though, given the trio at the top. My lead player this week is Rasmus Højgaard. Now, Rasmus opened at 28. He's been back to bit, 22 to 1, the best that we're going to get out there right now. But I think that's well worth taking. Lightly raced at the Ryder Cup, as we know, only got 2 matches as the rookie, but good experience. Qualified by rights for the Ryder Cup, of course. We shouldn't forget that. He played some cracking stuff over the course of the year, on and off. Second in Denmark, second at Crans-sur-Sierre in the build-up to the Ryder Cup, and then since then finished third at the Sanders and Farms and 14th at the Bay Current Classic over on the PGA Tour. So been playing some nice tidy golf, some really eye-catching stats as well. He led the field for strokes gained approach in Denmark. He led the field for strokes gained tee to green at Crans-sur-Sierre, and then was third for strokes gained putting at the Sanderson Farms. Should be nice and relaxed, I think. Got his PGA Tour card sewn up. 43rd, as you said, in the OWGR. I think that's probably safe. Famous last words.
I thought so.
Yeah, I think he should be okay. And it should be able to come in with a level of comfort, I think. Won in Mauritius back early in his career, so you got a Paspalum link there. Led the field for strokes gained putting at Ras Al Khaimah last year. Again, Paspalum link there. So there were a number of Paspalum courses that I mapped back where Højgaard had played well or putted well. So big tick in the box for a week where you're going to need to compile and make enough birdies to seriously contend. So led with Rasmus Højgaard. The other one at a similar price, Alex Noren, 22 to 1 generally. I backed him with William Hill 10 places at 20 to 1, which is still available as we record this podcast just after 8 a.m. on Tuesday. So do take a look at that market. We've seen Bob win the Dunhill Links. We've seen Tommy win in India. Both of them win since the Ryder Cup. Noren was a vice-captain, of course, but he'll have enjoyed those celebrations, and he could continue the slightly more tenuous Ryder Cup winning theme here should he win. Won for us in September at Wentworth, as we know. That was his second win in 3 starts, and you noted this a week or two back, Steve. He's the sort who's well capable of finding another victory. He won 4 times in the space of 4 months back in 2016 when he hit top speed. So certainly the kind of player that when he gets that bit between his teeth can just rattle off events one after the other. 5th year back in 2023. He led the field for strokes gained putting that week on these greens. So Alex Noren, against the players at the top, if there's a player that I think could take on and beat the best players out there, particularly given that he's done exactly that at the Wentworth very recently, I think he could be the one to beat. So write him off at your peril. So those 2 are mine near the top. Let's bring you boys in. Barry, you got any? Let's go 50 to 1 or under. You got anything in that bracket that you fancy this week?
I think that might be shopping in the wrong part of the market. So I was having a look at it. It seems like the bookies can't really figure it out. It's a very kind of a flat price structure from the favourites right through to like the 25s, 30s, and there's nothing there that's making me go, oh, I want to back him because of the price there. So I can't really differentiate between them anyway in that situation. So I'm kind of jumped to a couple of outsiders, and if they don't win, I'll just enjoy watching it.
Cool. Okay, well, we'll bring you in when we've done the longer prices then. Steve, anything 50 or short of you?
No. I've mulled with Hatton. I've mulled with Fitzpatrick. I always mull over Shane Lowry. I mulled past all of them.
There was one, Paul, actually, kind of, but not in that short price. It's Iora. Did he spike at all for you this week?
Yeah, I know you've been on
sure
him a bit, haven't you? So
a little bit, yeah. I mean,
Fear of missing out.
It's FOMO. It is. It's
FOMO.
Steve, it could be a FOMO bet. They're expensive. We've gone on some expensive FOMO runs before.
Yeah, I'm FOMOing as well, unfortunately. So yeah, they tend to be expensive.
okay, well the two that I've backed, they're not seriously long, but a little bit longer. Keita Nakajima I've backed. He is 70-1 again with BetMGM. So they continue to churn out some good prices. BetMGM. If you haven't used them, do give them a look. The sort of player with enough quality to contend against the best players in the world, I think. He won in India last year, 3 runner-up finishes this year so far, just not quite got over the line. Most recent near finish was in Delhi last month, of course. He's in that 9th of 10 position for the PGA Tour cards, as Steve just ran through. So he needs to fully focus this week and next if he's going to fulfil that dream of playing on the PGA Tour card, or PGA Tour. 13th there last year. His approach play was a little bit off. Otherwise, he could have been far closer to the lead. And if you look at how he's fared the last couple of starts, 6th and 16th for strokes gained approach. That 16th was when he was tailed off further down the Genesis field as well. So his approach game seems to have stepped up a gear. And if he can marry that together with how he played for the rest of last year's tournament here, then he could well feature Keita Nakajima. The other one, we've already mentioned him, Laurie Cantor, 80-1 is the best price out there this morning. Now, he's in possession of the 6th of 10 cards after finishing second in South Korea. He's only about 300 points ahead of Nakajima, though. So, again, with a lot of points on offer this week, there's going to be a lot of jostling. And I think a player like Laurie Cantor can't just rest on his laurels. I think he's going to have to go out and try and perform this week. He won in Bahrain on Paspalam earlier this year. Now, that was coming off the back of a 3rd place finish. His previous win came off the back of a 7th place finish. So he seems to be the sort who needs that decent outing just before going out and winning a golf tournament. So his 2nd place finish last time should be taken in that context, I think. 6th to halfway last year here in Abu Dhabi at Yas Links, so has some course form to fall back on too. So yeah, quite happy to go with Cantor, Nakajima, Alex Noren and Rasmus Højgaard for me, my 4. Go on, Barry, throw me those longer prices.
I'm going to stick with Nakajima after he flirted with doing okay and then melted off to 54th in Korea. Yeah, I think the underlying skill sets his ceiling, let's say, is high. So
yes.
I think if when he figures it out, we could have a very serious player on our hands. So again, Steve, this probably falls into the FOMO category now. I might have trapped myself into a FOMO on Nakajima, but still, yeah, not chasing it into the lower odds right now. So 66-1 is fine. The other one I was going to go with was one I backed a couple of weeks ago, Ugo Kuso. So a couple of middling, 42nd his last 2 outings, but there was a 5th there the week before that and finished 6th here last year. So that's a nice little combo for the odds. He's in around 100s, so I just need to find the right kind of blend of price and places, but I'll probably be chasing like 8 or maybe 10 places.
Yeah, he certainly is prominent when you look at that last year performance and a little smattering of recent enough effort as well. So, yeah, couldn't put you off at the price, Barry.
Cantor's a good shout as well, Paul. I was just kind of looking through the sheet and he popped in the predictor and recent form. It feels like an interesting bet. I might have a nibble at that as well and completely torch it for you.
Yeah, I think he's got to focus, and as I say, he's the kind of player that if you go through his history, he has stepped up, put a decent shift in a tournament, and then the next event has been the one that has gone and won. So
yeah, it doesn't seem to melt. His form doesn't seem to melt away very quickly when he finds it.
No. It's interesting how these players perform in different ways, but certainly one to consider.
5 of the last 6 here. 60 to 1, 90 to 1. That was Lee Westwood. 40 to 1, 55 to 1, 125 to 1. So I'm shopping in exactly the same waters as you guys, and unfortunately I'm coming up with 2 exactly the same names. Laurie Cantor for me. I'm also taking Keita Nakajima. The fear of missing out as well has to be Tristan Lauren. Third here last year, was he? 3rd or 4th?
Yeah, and I've been backing him off a proverbial cliff.
So I'll cover him for the pod. I'll take the loss on Tristan, Paul. Just to cover him off for the pod.
Yeah, do me a favour.
Halloween really spooked us 3 boys, didn't it? Just FOMO betting crazy.
Oh, it's that point in the year. Yeah, I couldn't put you off Tristan. He's the credentials there. I've been on him a lot recently, and he's just not quite done it. But yeah, the week I step off, probably the week that he finds it. And again, another one he's got a lot to fight for in terms of his position on the race to Dubai.
Another thing I'll just quickly mention: fair play to both Michael Kim, who won in Paris, of course, a couple of months ago, and also Ryan Gerard, both playing this, coming across from the States. Fair play to those 2. It's good to see some of the Americans, especially these younger, inexperienced sorts, especially with Gerard rather than Michael, but just stepping over here, coming out the comfort zone and playing some international golf.
Yep. Yeah, they're entitled to play because they've qualified for that position. So, rather than just relinquishing that spot, fair play for them to.
They could have easily travelled down to Mexico, couldn't they?
Yeah, could have done.
But they've come across to Abu Dhabi.
It's going to be interesting to see who comes back from the PGA Tour, because we've had a couple of years of this now. So do we start to properly get that rotation back? Because I guess if you fall off let's say you miss out the PGA Tour cards, you can probably drop down and play the KFT. Yeah. I'm not sure the exact mechanics of it, but if you've moved over there, you say you got yourself a house sorted, probably that's the way you might think about doing it. So it's just going to be interesting. It probably might take a couple of years of churn of this system for people to start properly filtering back across.
Yeah, it would be down to individual family situations, I suppose. And
I think we're going to see Antoine Rosner. He's at 159. He won't have a US base. I'm just scrolling. I mean, it takes us into the tournament quite nicely. The one that interests me, I know that his win exemption is over, is Seamus Power. He's at 135 on the full series rankings. Don't forget, top 100 get full playing privileges. 101 to 125 get conditional. So you can form a decent schedule from 101 to 125. Seamus needs to pull something out of the fire. He lives in Las Vegas, doesn't he?
Yep.
So whether Powell would say, well, actually, I'm going to play you the level below conditional, and I don't know, because there's lifetime money, there's all sorts of different exemptions out there. So, yeah, you've got those 2 that are definitely potentially dropping back to play some DP World Tour. I'm still scanning. Jesper Svensson, 113. Finished nicely last time.
Yeah.
So there's names that will be coming back. Even Victor Perez at 107 at the moment. So, yeah, we are going to see a flow of players coming back to play DP World Tour. And clearly, Paul Waring he didn't give it much of a run, did he? I think, is he injured or?
He didn't get much of a... Even the events that he did start, there were a lot of miscuts there, weren't there? So
I don't know where he stands in terms of injury and whatever. But there will be a churn. Right, okay, WWT Championship, the worldwide technology. And when you spell it out, it's got to be world, it's then got to be wide, it's then got to be technology championship. You've got to break it out into the 3. Now, we've been playing this tournament for many years. I mean, the older amongst us will remember El Chameleon. And the likes of Brendan Todd and Victor Hovland winning twice around that little short, mangrove-infested golf course. I'm trying to think. The amount of players that I always used to back that finished second in that tournament was quite immense. But we moved a couple of years ago to this new venue, El Cardinal at Diamante in Cabo, Mexico. So we're on the west coast of Mexico. It's on the spit that goes down from California, effectively. That peninsula. Right on the southern tip. Beautiful spot. And you'll hear this all the time. This is a Tiger Woods golf course. He built it in 2014. His design. The only one so far on the PGA Tour. As Paul mentioned with his particular preview, this is the Paspalum week. Over at El Cardinal, we're talking Platinum Paspalum. In terms of the greens.
For a different way to say Paspalum, right? How many others you got, Steve?
Paspalum. The greens here are massive, 8,300 square feet. Bearing in mind, this golf course was built for rather wealthy Mexican and American golfing tourists, so it's not a tough golf course at all. The fairways are quoted at 60 to 70 yards wide, so we're think your way back to Black Desert 2 weeks ago. There is no rough. And it is a relatively short par 72, 7,452 yards. So I've recategorised this, Barry. I take on board what you tell me, I'm now saying that around about 7.4, 7.450, I'm classifying that now as a medium-length golf course in today's modern golf. Mm. So, desert golf, it's resort golf. It's going to be very low scoring this week, and it is a medium-length golf course in my terminology. We've had 2 winners here. I can feel Paul getting excited. Eric Van Rooyen was the first. He won at 27 under par. And in a far windier renewal last year, Austin Eckroat won at 24 under. Now this year, the weather appears to be warmer and less windy. I can see this touching 30 under par.
Well.
Certainly EVR territory of 27s and 28s. So this is genuine resort level scoring this week. If you're shooting straight 68s around here at 12 under par, you'll be very close to the bottom of the leaderboard, I think. The cut line in 2023 was 5 under par. So it's really going to be flat out golf. Can't see a lot of wind. It's Paspalum, so, you're going to get greens that literally accept every shot known to man. I'm sure they'll get the fire department out, Barry. So, it's just going to be fantastic. It's going to be birdie and eagle fest, simple as.
Well, with no century tournament, they've got to plug the gap with these 30 under totals somehow, haven't they?
Yeah. We need to get to 36 under this week, guys. Let's go.
In 2023, when EVR won, this course shot at 68.99, so 3 shots under par for the field. It was the 56th easiest of 58 golf courses. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. It was the 3rd easiest of 58 golf courses. That's where we're at. what else can I say? Not a lot, really. It is a desert golf course. You're going to see cacti and rocks if you miss fairways and whatever, but you've got to be severely flagrant here to miss fairways. Field's good. I was quite pleased with the field. It's headed by the US Open champion JJ Spawn and Ben Griffin, who I believe was 12th here last year. The problem I've got with those two, is kind of why are they playing? What do Ben Griffin and JJ Spawn need to achieve now? Everything's cushy, isn't it? So whether Ben Griffin's just keeping himself fresh, maybe he wants to make a tilt for the Wiffle Board Classic in a couple of weeks down at Sea Island, and he just wants to get the rust off.
It's a pretty nice looking place to get the rust off. Just a holiday resort in Mexico.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice indeed. What that has done, though, is push prices down. So, as of first show yesterday, you were getting Theo Bjornsson, our old friend, Rico Hoey, our old friend. The amount of time we've tipped those guys up over the year and they haven't won for us, or they've missed the cut for us and then finished second the week after, is unbelievable. Max Grazeman was a 22-1 shot out there. Siwoo Kim at 22s. It's that one of those tournaments. These mid-range players, because of Griffin and Spawn in the field, you're getting them, rather than you're getting them at like 14s and 16s, you're getting them out in the 20s. Garrick Higo is going to be very popular this week. Course form. We know that he's got plenty on his plate in terms of world ranking points and getting into this Aon top 10. And as we know with Higo, he carries form. 25s out to the likes of Kevin Yu at 28s. So, I pitched my tip. Two things to point out again. Paul mentioned this on his tips preview. William Hill in this 10 place each way market. Chapeau to those guys. They've been uncompetitive for pretty much the whole of 2025, and the golf compiler's clearly got his head around he needed to do something. So they are offering 6 places each way as their standard, and now an extended 10 places each way market. And it would appear that they're doing it across both DP and PGA Tour. So chapeau to those guys. And I also want to highlight BetMGM, who I put a couple up with this week. BetMGM, of course, we're basically marketing them as the kind of Unibet replacement, because Unibet now don't offer each way bets. You're getting the 6 places each way week in, week out now with Unibet. Not with Unibet, I get this always confused with BetMGM. But they are making some rather bold odds choices, and I've got an absolute cracker this week. I managed to get Sami Falamaki, the Prince of Paspalum, 150-1 with BetMGM, 6 places each way. So I'm a point each way on Falamaki. We've been talking about him all year in Paspalum. So I just had to grab him.
Yep.
Had to grab him this week. And if there's one thing with Falamaki, he needs to play well, because otherwise he might be playing DP World Tour next year, because he's sitting currently at 103rd in the full series rankings. So I don't know if someone with Falamaki, would he play off conditional status and keep flying across to the PGA Tour for the Corrales Championship and squeaking into the American Express and this kind of stuff?
Again, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Depends on the family situation, but the price on Falamaki.
That just grabbed me as wrong.
Yeah, he's an up and down kind of player, but if you go back, it's not so long that since he was finishing 8th in Denmark, 2nd at Grand Soucier.
Yeah.
He's had 3 weeks to sort himself out now. Falamaki owes me one, and this goes all the way back to Oman back in 2020 when I'd backed Brandon Stone to win at 80-1, and I thought I'd got it won. He's sitting there, shot ahead, 18th hole. Välimäki nailed a 25-footer, or maybe even longer, to take it to a playoff, and then won the playoff. And so he owes me redemption time, I think, Sami Välimäki. So yeah, I'm with you, Steve. Got to take him.
The 150s has gone. I'm not surprised. He's still, though, 125 with BetMGM right now. You've got to take 6 places, but he's as short as 80-1 with William Hill 6 places each way. Are you on the Välimäki train, Barry? I mean, it's hard not to be, isn't it, with the way that we've been building him up all year.
It's like an elephant never forgets. An elephant never forgets, Paul. Just a 5-year grudge.
Yeah, that Oman win was on Paspalum as well, by the way.
I know. You can just see Paul shaking his fist like, "You'll get you, Välimäki."
Yeah, you will pay me back at some point in the
yeah, exactly. Like, you will rue the day. I haven't gotten to this tournament yet properly, so if you want me to join the bandwagon, I'll happily throw a couple of jellies on him.
Yeah, Välimäki pays for Christmas, Barry.
Oh, that's an interesting team. Hashtag, yeah. He is the Paspalum specialist. So even at that price, it's quite high. You know, missing out the 150s. So what? Even at 100s, good happy days.
Paspalum specialist needs to play well. It's now or never, really. If you want to keep your full playing privileges, yeah, which he earned last year, remember, by finishing second in Mexico on a Paspalum coastal golf course.
What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly. His approach play is excellent still, and he's top 20 on the PGA Tour for the full season for putting. So let's just hope he joins the dots together. At the top of the market, I've gone for one. 18-1 I've got with William Hill on their 10 places each way market. I put 2.5 points on him as a stake. I've got a feeling that this will be his last tournament of 2025 because it's exactly what he did last year. He sits at the very top of the Aon 10, so he doesn't really need to play anymore. He's going to have these 2 signature events starts at the start of 2026. They're in the bag, effectively. I think he's come here to win. I think he wants to get the monkey off his back and break his PGA Tour maiden. When you actually look into this chap, it's amazing what he's done since sort of the late summer of last year. He's finished second at the 3M Open, second at the Wyndham Championship, second at the 2024 Zozo, and then this year, second at the Rocket Classic and second a few weeks ago in Japan at the Bay Current Classic. He went head-to-head that Sunday with Xander and did not really disappoint himself. He came up 1 stroke short against a player of the high, top 3, top 4 in the world, Xander. Max Grazeman. I think he'll take something from that and get over the line this week. He was 4th here last year. I believe he was the 36-hole leader. And that was coming off second the outing before at the Zozo. Bit of biorhythms there, Barry. Hits it a long way, fantastic putter, and in my 8 event strokes gained approach rankings, he's 3rd in this field. So Max Grazeman is my shout at the top of the market, the very top. Where are you coming in at, Paul, in terms of your prices, just for my reference?
I've got 2 more other than Välimäki, 25s and 90. Or 100, actually.
Well, I'd be surprised if your 25s is mine 25s, but I'll take you through mine. If we're looking for another guy that's kind of a Paspalum expert, his last 2 wins, to my reckoning, you might tell me I was wrong, were both on Paspalum greens. Bjorn Olsen. And when you look at some of his recent wins on the DP World Tour, he tends to make it bloody obvious that he's about to win. I think the last one in Europe, he was 3rd the outing before and then took out the victory. And that's exactly what he did a few weeks ago. He was third at Black Desert. I think he'll love the golf course. I got 25-1 with William Hill, 10 places each way. Thorbjorn Olsen never won on the PGA Tour. For a player of his calibre, that must be something he really wants to tick. You know, both a DP World Tour and a PGA Tour winner. It sounds very Alex Noren.
Yeah,
I would have thought both of, you know, to on their Palmares, they want to be dual tour winners. And the other thing with Olsen I do like is he's still in great need of a good finish because he is sitting only 2 places inside the magic top 100. So you've got Bo at 99, Bo Hosler in this field. Bo Hosler. And you've got Thorbjorn Olsen at 98. Max McGreevy, 97. Michael Brennan, the Wunderkind, at 95. So I'm on Olsen because he still needs to finish the job off. So yeah, I took Olsen at 25-1. Who's your 25-1 shot, Paul?
Well, quite predictably, it's Garrick Higo, who I've been backing him quite a bit of late. And I don't think I can drop him now. 7th at the Pro Course, 2nd at the Sanderson Farms, 4th at the Bay Current. So he's playing some really good, solid golf coming into this. Won the Corrales back in April, of course, when I was on board. And he's got a great record on this type of pattern surface over in Europe. Pretty much no-brainer for me. I thought 25-1, again, that's with BetMGM, was a strong price. I expected him to be a little bit short on that. So happy to take Garrick Higo.
Are you still thinking, Barry, or have you got any selections? Are you working through crossing the T's and dotting the I's?
I'm doing some very deep research. Quick,
of course.
Thinking, I'm just going to embrace the Paspalum this week and looking at a couple like Justin Lauer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So
he's in need. He's
third 2 weeks ago, second year last year.
Yeah. He's my other pick. So.
He's at 110. He's at 110 in the standings. So yeah.
Please let me stand aside and allow somebody who knows why they chose Lauer, other than a couple of highlight points, to explain why he's a pick. Paul?
Well, no, I think you're right. I think the obvious numbers are staring in the face. He was 2nd and 5th in this segment of the season last year. 3rd in Utah recently, and Steve's already talked about the correlation in terms of the dimensions from off the tee to this week and to Utah. And 4th at the Corrales, 3rd at the Mexico Open last year. It seems to me, and I know this isn't a lower grade event, but it feels like there's some correlation between this and some of the alternate events that have been played over the last few years, particularly in terms of the agronomy. So yeah, there was no reason for me not to pick him, and like you, I think you're looking at that kind of 80 to 100-1 bracket, depending how you play it with the each way places. I think he's well worth taking as an each way shot. Personally,
I'm so tempted to back Joel Damon, but it's just not there at the moment, is it? But then again, he could spike a first round leader. Maybe I need to stop the FOMO betting.
I just don't think Joel Damon shoots 27, 29 under par. But
no, that was the thing. It was, I don't know, two of my.
You know when he won in Corrales, I'm sure it was a windswept like 12 under.
Yeah. I don't think he can shoot a low round, but I don't think shooting 4 low rounds to a combined very low total is in his wheelhouse.
No, that was my concern with Joel Damon. I took a BetMGM price as well at 50-1, which a lot of other firms were 33-1 and 35-1s on our man from Pinner in Middlesex. I know it doesn't exist anymore, Middlesex, but I still like saying it. He won the Corrales Championship on the PGA Tour at 20 under par. That was quite windswept. So he's a Paspalum winner on the PGA Tour. He's a 5-time winner on the DP World Tour. I fancy Matt Wallace this week. I got 50 to 1, 6 places each way with BetMGM, 1.5 points each way on Matt Wallace. Interesting with Wallace, he could have played. I think could he have played? Yeah, I think Matt could have played.
Yeah, good. He was in the spots to play Abu Dhabi, so yeah, he's chosen to play your event.
I can kind of see why, because he's 94th in the standings, which isn't guaranteed by any way, is it? You know, when Justin Lauer finishes second this week, he'll break into that top 93, 92. You see what I did there, Barry? But I think Wallace he needs a result, and this place kind of suits him, I think. Wide off the tee. His approach play's been decent recently. He's in the top 25 in my rankings for approach last 8 events. He's in the top 20 for tee to green. Yeah, I could see Wallace going extremely well this week. And my final one is one that I've been following kind of on and off for the last few weeks and months. Needs to pop. He's 144th in the FedEx Cup Full Series standings. His tee to green game is outstanding. His approach play is fantastic. Just needs to have a week where he's neutral on the putter. He's got some Paspalum form. 6th in Puerto Rico and 16th. When he was on the Corn Ferry, he's had a 2nd, a 9th, a 7th down in Bahamas. Paspalum often suits players that can't putt because it's so slow. Ben Coles. I got 110 to 1 on Coles with Bet365 via their each way extra 8-place market facility. So Falamaki, Coles, Wallace, Tilbjorn Olsen, Max Grazeman for me. It should be a good tournament. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, should be a good week.
Yeah, decent week of golf, I think. I've got an absolute beauty next week. Camilo Villegas and Campos have won the Bermuda Championship in the last 2 renewals. I believe they were both like 200 to 1 or mad prices. So picking the bones from that's going to be interesting next week for me. 300 to 1 for Rafael Campos and 150 to 1 for Camilo. So looking forward to the Bahamas. I'm looking forward to Bermuda next week. And you, of course, Paul, DP World Tour Championship, the finale.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Always one that I really enjoy. So, but some fair success there over the years. So, yeah, hopefully we can round the DP World Tour season off with a win or 2. Would be nice.
I hope your bets go well, chaps.
Best luck, boys.
You too, boys.
If you made it this far on YouTube, don't forget, subscribe, like the show, leave a comment for the algorithm. Send in your 5-star reviews. I will promise any 5-star reviews sent in over the next 7 days, we will read them in the remaining podcasts of 2025. I will see you again next week. Goodbye.
If you like betting on golf, but everyone that you back misses the cut, get some experts involved with all the stats and the tips and so much more. 'Cause it's the golf betting system, the golf betting system, it's the golf betting system podcast.